I was out in the garage putting together a crib for my soon-to-arrive son when I caught my wife saying something to her parents that shattered me. I don't love him. Never have. He's just a paycheck with hands. Her mom gave a nod and said, we'll get custody once he cracks. Then her teenage daughter leaned in and asked, can I spit in his food? I didn't flinch. Just kept the drill going like nothing happened. Didn't even lift my head. Fast forward to this morning, Alyssa and her mother showed up at my door, sobbing, pleading with me to talk to them. To be honest, this entire week has felt like a slow-motion train wreck. I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything. Apologies in advance if this all comes out scrambled, but I need to unload it somewhere. Using a throwaway account for obvious reasons. So, a little about me, I'm 38 and my wife Alyssa's 36. We've been married a decade. She's got a daughter, Tessa, who's 15 now. I've raised the girl since she was 5. In about 3 weeks, we're expecting our first child together, a baby boy we've decided to name Caleb. Up until recently, I really believed we had it good. A quiet house in the suburbs, some savings, a future that looked bright. I genuinely thought we were happy. Looking back now, I feel like the biggest fool on the planet. Last Saturday, I was in the garage working on that crib. One of those DIY deals from a big box store, hundreds of pieces, instructions that may as well have been written in code. I'd been at it for a couple hours, totally focused on getting it right. Left the garage door cracked to let some air in. Our kitchen window sits just above it, so I could clearly hear Alyssa, her mom Marcia, and Tessa talking inside. At first, it was just background chatter. I didn't really pay attention. Then I heard my name come up. And like anyone else would, I naturally started listening in a little closer. Alyssa was venting about being stressed with the baby on the way, the kind of thing you'd expect from a pregnant woman. But soon it took a turn. She started picking me apart, said I was clingy, annoying, always in the way. Then she dropped the line that's been stuck in my head ever since. She said she never loved me. That to her, I was just a paycheck with hands. A goddamn paycheck with hands. Marcia didn't even bat an eye. Just calmly replied that they'd get custody once I finally cracked. Then Tessa, the same kid I've treated like my own for 10 years, asked if she could spit in my food. And still, I didn't say a word. Just kept working like a machine, heart pounding out of my chest. I finished that crib on autopilot, barely aware of what I was doing. My head was spinning the whole time. When I finally came back inside, they were acting all sweet and cheerful. Alyssa even asked if I wanted lunch. But all I could think about was what Tessa said. I felt sick. Had to fight the urge to vomit. Told them I wasn't hungry and locked myself in the bathroom. And then I broke down quietly, alone. For the past 6 days, I've been living a lie. Acting like everything's fine while planning my escape behind the scenes. I share a bed with a woman who sees me as nothing but an ATM. I cook breakfast for a teen who jokes about poisoning me. I touch the belly of someone carrying my son, knowing full well she's plotting to take him away from me. And the worst part? The signs were always there. I just refused to see them. Since we got married, I've handled all the finances. I make more than Alyssa, but never thought twice about covering things for her and Tessa. I paid for Alyssa to go back to school. Bought Tessa her phone, laptop, wardrobe, everything. Alyssa always pushed to keep separate bank accounts for independence. Now I finally get why. Yesterday, I checked our shared account and saw she'd been making small transfers for months, just enough to stay under the radar. Checked her Amazon orders, we share the account, and saw baby items getting shipped to her mom's place. Stuff I had no clue about. Then I dug through our texts. Turns out half the nights she said she was stuck at work, she was actually out with friends. Found pictures in her Google Photos laughing at restaurants while I was home alone thinking she was working overtime. It doesn't prove she's cheating, but it sure as hell proves she's been lying. Now I feel stuck in this waking nightmare. Our son is almost here. I know she's waiting for the right moment to walk. Probably once she's got the baby and feels secure. And Marcia? She's part of the plan. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I act excited about the baby, smile, play the part. But inside, I feel hollow. It's like I'm living in some twisted play, having dinner with people who see me as a human wallet while talking about baby names like nothing's wrong. I've started recording our conversations using my smartwatch. Already scheduled a consultation with a lawyer. Gathering evidence. Downloading all our financial statements, screenshotting proof of the lies. Every time Tessa asks me for cash or help with something, I have to bite my tongue. The words, "Are you spitting in my food later?" burn on it. This girl I taught to ride a bike. Walked her into her first day of middle school. Stayed up through the night when she had strep. All of it fake. Just playing nice with the walking wallet. And this morning, Alyssa had the nerve to ask if I'd paint the nursery this weekend. Said the doctor wants her resting because her blood pressure's up. I gave her a smile and said, "Sure, no problem." But inside, I was absolutely screaming. I know I need to confront them, and believe me, I want to, but not yet. Not until everything's lined up. Not until I'm certain I can protect my son. Because honestly, that little boy is the only thing keeping me going right now. I've made up my mind, no matter what happens, I'm going to be in his life. They might see me as just some walking bank account, but there's no way in hell I'm letting them take him from me. Meanwhile, Alyssa's been texting me all day about baby shower decorations. Wants me to swing by the store after work and grab a few things. Like we're just your average happy couple getting ready for a baby. Like she didn't blow up our entire life with one soul-crushing sentence. And tonight, just like every night, I'll have to crawl into bed beside her. Lie there next to a woman I loved for 10 years. Knowing she sees me as nothing more than a disposable asset. Pretend I don't know that she's already moved on emotionally, that she's been planning this whole thing behind my back. I'm barely holding it together, just trying to figure out my next steps without tipping my hand. Sorry if this whole thing reads like a mess. I feel like I'm losing it. If anyone out there has lived through something like this, I could really use some guidance. Honestly, I'm not even sure what I need right now. Maybe I just needed someone, anyone, to hear me, even if it's strangers on the internet. I've got a meeting set with a lawyer next week. Going to find out exactly how to protect myself and make sure I stay in my son's life. But for now, I'm just focused on getting through each day without breaking down. Without confronting them too soon. Update. First off, wow. I never imagined the flood of responses my last post would get. Seriously, thank you. Sorry I went quiet for a while. Things got intense. For anyone new here, I'm the guy who overheard his pregnant wife tell her mom, "I'm nothing but a paycheck with hands." Oh, and my stepdaughter asked if she could spit in my food. Real wholesome stuff. So here's what's happened since then. Our son Caleb was born a few weeks early, but he's healthy and perfect. Came in at 6 pounds, 4 ounces. For the past 2 months, I've been living in what feels like a warped version of reality. Acting like everything's normal, while quietly unraveling our life behind the scenes. The day Caleb was born felt surreal. I stood there cutting the cord, tears in my eyes, pretending this was the happiest day of my life. All while knowing the woman beside me saw me as nothing more than a human ATM. I held this tiny little boy in my arms. Half me, half her, and just broke down in the hospital bathroom. Not exactly the picture-perfect scene they show in the movies. Since then, I've been running what I jokingly call Operation Ghost Protocol. Yeah, I'm still a nerd, even during a personal crisis. Here's what I've done so far. The day after we came home from the hospital, I met with a lawyer. Cost $1,000 up front, but worth every cent. They walked me through how to protect my rights, secure paternity, and prepare for the custody process. I've already started redirecting part of my paychecks into a new bank account she doesn't know about. Not enough to raise red flags, but enough to build up a fallback fund. I also bought a voice-activated recorder for the nursery. Totally legal in my state, don't worry. It's already caught some pretty telling conversations when I'm not around. I quietly rented a small apartment across town and paid 3 months' rent in advance. I've been moving some essentials over bit by bit. Just clothes, documents, small things she won't notice are gone. Every receipt for baby items I've bought, photographed. Every bottle, every night feeding, every diaper change, logged. I've got a shared cloud folder with my lawyer full of this evidence, including those original recordings of Alyssa and her mom talking about getting custody when I break. But the most disturbing moment came just last week. I caught Tessa on my kitchen security cam. Yeah, I installed one a while back, actually spitting in my coffee mug when she thought I wasn't looking. I watched in full 4K as she looked right at it, spit, stirred it with a spoon, and walked off with this sick little smirk. This kid I raised like my own. Taught her to ride a bike. Took her shopping for her first school dance. Helped with school projects. Now every one of those memories feels like they belong to someone else. Since Caleb's birth, Alyssa and Marcia have gotten bolder. They constantly make parenting decisions without including me. Just yesterday, Marcia had the nerve to suggest she and Alyssa take Caleb for a relaxing weekend at her house. You know, to give me a break. I smiled, thanked her for the thoughtful offer, then filed that conversation away in the evidence folder. And Alyssa, she's putting on an Oscar-worthy performance in public, posting happy family photos on social media, tagging me with captions like, "Best dad ever blue heart." All her friends leave hearts and smiley faces, completely clueless about what's really happening. Meanwhile, I've got full access to her texts with Marcia. "Thank you, Cloud Sync," and she's out here complaining that I want to hold Caleb too much. Can you believe that? I've been playing the part of the exhausted, devoted new dad, up at all hours feeding him, rocking him, doing laundry, dishes, the works, and still, she tells her friends I don't do enough. The gaslighting is next level. She'll literally watch me do something, then tell someone I never do it. But here's the thing. I love being Caleb's dad. At 3 a.m., when it's just me and him in the dim light, I hold him close and whisper that I'm here, that I'm staying, that one day he'll know the truth. Then I gently lay him back down in his crib and go sleep on the couch because I can't stomach being in the same bed as Alyssa anymore. My lawyer says I've already built a strong foundation for at least 50-50 custody. Honestly, we might even have grounds for more than 50-50 custody, given all the documentation I've put together. The plan is finally falling into place, but timing it right is everything. I've been waiting patiently for the perfect opportunity to make my move, and that moment is happening tomorrow. Alyssa, Marcia, and Tessa are heading out for a full-day shopping spree for Tessa's birthday. Hitting the mall, grabbing lunch, getting their nails done. They'll be out for hours. This morning, while Alyssa was in the shower, I quietly packed the last of my things into the car. Once they pull out of the driveway, I'm grabbing Caleb's portable crib, some baby essentials, and our dog. They haven't even noticed I've been taking him to doggy daycare more often, just easing him into being away from the house. The hardest decision in all of this? Tessa. I've been a father to her for 10 years. But after what she said, after seeing her spit in my coffee with that smug little grin, I can't pretend it didn't happen. I can't forgive that. She's not a little kid anymore. She's old enough to know what she's doing. Still, walking away from her feels like I'm leaving a piece of myself behind. I wrote her a letter, told her that no matter what happened, I did love her like my own, that I always saw her as my daughter. Maybe one day she'll read it and understand. Maybe not. But I had to say it anyway. Alyssa keeps asking why I've been so quiet lately. I just tell her I'm tired from the baby. Sleep deprived, running on fumes. She has no clue what's about to hit. And honestly, there's a part of me that's almost looking forward to the moment she realizes I'm not the pushover she took me for. That I heard every word. That I've been quietly staying 10 steps ahead. I keep checking my go bag, making sure nothing's missing: birth certificates, insurance info, Caleb's medical records, all the legal paperwork. It's crazy how 10 years of marriage can fit into 2 duffel bags and a single backpack. Is it wrong that I feel excited? Not just about walking away, but about finally breathing again. About being free from the lies, the manipulation, the constant performance. Maybe that makes me selfish. Maybe I should have confronted her sooner. Maybe I should have tried to fix it. But the truth is, you can't fix someone who never saw you as a person in the first place. You can't reason with someone who never loved you. All you can do is protect yourself, and the innocent ones caught in the middle. Here's the plan. Once I'm set up in the new place, I'm going to send Alyssa a single screenshot. It'll be the security footage of Tessa spitting in my coffee. No text, no explanation, just that image. Then I'm turning my phone off for a full 24 hours while they scramble. My lawyer will contact her the next day with the official custody papers and divorce filing. Wish me luck, Reddit. The next time I post, I'll be in my new home with my son safe beside me, starting fresh. This isn't how I imagined my life would go. But sometimes the best kind of revenge is choosing not to be a victim anymore. Final update. It's been 3 months since my last post. Wasn't planning to come back here, but I've gotten so many messages asking how it all turned out, I figured I owed you all some closure. And honestly, writing this out helps me process what a total dumpster fire my life became. First things first, Caleb's doing amazing. He's 4 months old now and already starting to babble. Kid's got a set of lungs on him, let me tell you. Yeah, he keeps me up all night, but I wouldn't trade a second of it. Every time he wraps his little hand around my finger, I remember exactly why this fight was worth it. So here's what happened. Just like I planned, I left the day they went out for Tessa's birthday shopping trip. I packed the car with Caleb, the dog, and whatever else I could squeeze in. The place I moved into? It's small, 1-bedroom, tiny kitchen, and a bathroom so small you can touch all 4 walls if you stretch your arms out. But you know what? It's mine. No one here calling me a paycheck with legs. I sent Alyssa that screenshot, the one of Tessa spitting in my coffee, just like I said I would. Then I powered my phone down for 24 hours. When I turned it back on the next day, I had 97 missed calls and nearly 200 texts. I screenshotted the first batch and saved them in a folder I call Laugh When Needed. They went from confusion, where are you? To anger, answer your damn phone. To panic, please, just let us know you're okay. Then came the bargaining, we can work this out. And finally, the desperation, please come home. We need you. The most telling thing? Not a single one of those early messages asked about Caleb. It was all about me. Where I was. When I'd be back. Hours went by before Alyssa even mentioned our son. That told me everything I needed to know. The next morning, my lawyer served her the divorce papers. Included was the custody proposal 50-50 with conditions plus copies of the recordings, texts, and screenshots showing the way she and Marcia were planning to handle me after the baby arrived. That's when the real chaos began. Alyssa and Marcia showed up at my new place that afternoon. Still not sure how they found me, probably tracked my phone, honestly. When I opened the door with Caleb in my arms, their faces said it all. Alyssa looked like she'd been hit by a truck. Her makeup was streaked, clothes rumpled, clearly hadn't slept. Marcia looked like she'd aged a decade overnight. They stood there crying, begging me to let them in. I just bounced Caleb gently in my arms and stared for a moment. Then I told them they could come in for 15 minutes, but if either of them raised their voice near the baby, they were out. What followed was intense. Alyssa swore she didn't mean what she said in the kitchen that day. Claimed she was overwhelmed just venting. That it was the stress talking. She said Marcia pushed her into saying those things. Claimed she really did love me. That she couldn't believe I'd steal our son like that. And the whole time she's pouring her heart out, all I can think about is the stack of recordings I've got, her own voice saying almost the exact same things when she thought I wasn't listening. Then Marcia jumped in, trying a whole different tactic. Started off with disappointment, said I was tearing the family apart. Then, when guilt didn't work, she went full threat mode, talking about court, saying no judge would side with a dad who kidnapped his kid. And when that didn't stick, she tried to buy me off. Offered to help cover rent if I came back home. The sheer nerve of this woman, after calling me a paycheck, now she's trying to pay me to return. I didn't say a word. Just pulled out my phone, tapped play, and watched their faces drop as their own voices filled the room. Alyssa saying I was a paycheck with hands. Marcia calmly plotting how they'd win custody after I broke down. Tessa asking if she could spit in my food. And the one that hurt most, the conversation they had just a couple nights after Caleb was born, where Alyssa told her mom I was being too clingy with my own son and that they needed to fix that. Then, for the final blow, I showed them the video. Tessa, clear as day, spitting into my coffee mug and smirking as she stirred it in. Alyssa collapsed. Just crumbled into a sobbing heap. Could barely breathe from how hard she was crying. Marcia? She didn't say much. Just stood there, silent in that cold, calculating way older women do when they realize they've lost control. They asked to hold Caleb. I told them no. That's when the truth finally started spilling out. Turns out, without my income, they couldn't keep up with the mortgage. Alyssa had racked up 3 credit cards I didn't even know about, all maxed out. Marcia? She'd been banking on me carrying them financially forever. Supporting their vision of family. Finding out I had receipts, literal proof of everything, that I'd been planning my exit for months, it knocked the wind right out of them. When they left, I didn't feel satisfaction. Or relief. Not even anger. Just empty. Like the adrenaline had drained from my system and left me hollow. The next few weeks were a blur, lawyer meetings, custody hearings, trying to figure out life as a solo dad. The temporary custody agreement gave me 4 days a week. She got 3. Every handoff felt like walking a tightrope. Alyssa would try to bait me into fights, push my buttons. I stonewalled her. Kept it calm. Just talked about Caleb's feeding schedule, handed her his diaper bag, and walked away. Then Tessa messaged me. A few weeks after I moved out. Said she was sorry. That she missed me. Asked if we could talk. That hurt. This was the kid I tucked in every night for a decade. The one I stayed up with through fevers and nightmares. But every time I considered responding, I remembered her standing there, smirking as she spit in my coffee. That kind of cruelty? That doesn't come out of nowhere. And some wounds, they don't heal. Court came quicker than expected. My lawyer absolutely crushed it. Brought the full stack, the recordings, the texts, the receipts, the video. Alyssa's lawyer tried claiming I set them up. Said the recordings were illegal. They're not in our state. The judge didn't buy a word of it. And when they saw the financials, hidden accounts, secret credit cards, that was the nail in the coffin. Final ruling, I got primary physical custody. Alyssa gets Caleb every other weekend and one dinner visit during the week. She even pays child support now. Ironic considering I was supposedly just a walking wallet. After the house sold, she had to move in with Marcia. Couldn't afford rent on her own. That was 2 months ago. Since then, things have finally started settling into a rhythm. I found a better place, 2-bedroom this time, with a little yard for the dog. Started going to therapy. Shout out to BetterHelp, absolutely worth it. I also joined a single dads group that meets up at the park on Saturdays. Turns out I'm far from the only guy who found out his wife saw him as an ATM. The stories these men share would curl your hair. And Alyssa? She's different now. Weirdly, she's become a more hands-on mom since losing custody. She shows up on time for every visit. Texts to check in about Caleb on her off days. Maybe losing him woke her up. Or maybe she's just trying to look good for court down the line. Either way, I keep the receipts. Everything's documented, every call, every message, every passive-aggressive gift Marcia sends for Caleb with notes like, he should be with his mommy. They go straight into a box. One day, when Caleb's older and starts asking questions, I'll open it up. He deserves to know the truth. The real one, not the version they'll try to sell him. And the weirdest part? Just last week, during a drop-off, Alyssa looked at me and asked if we could try again. Said she finally realized what she'd lost. That she did love me, just didn't know how to show it. I looked at her standing there, holding our son, and I thought about my little apartment. How peaceful it is. How clean it feels without the tension, the lies, the whispers behind my back. How I don't have to worry anymore if someone's messing with my food. And I told her no. Flat. Calm. Final. The look on her face, that was the moment I finally felt free. So here I am, 1 year later. Not the life I planned, but maybe it's the one I needed all along. Caleb turns 1 next month. We're having a little party, just us and a few close friends. Alyssa will get her own time with him the next day. We're not friends. We're not enemies. We're just 2 people trying to raise a child without screwing him up too badly. Thanks again, Reddit. For listening. For the advice. For just being there when I needed to scream into the void. Life's still messy, but at least now it's real.